All right, let's get wrapped up in another one. So, one movie that people know me for is Swamp Zombies 2. Um, Needless to say, didn't have a great experience while working on that movie with Len Kapuzinski at the time. We've obviously made up since. But at the time, I had a lot of a lot of unresolved emotions for that one. So I wrote a parody movie called River Mummy to counter Swamp Zombies, and I'd always wanted to write a mummy movie. I feel like they're an underserved monster in the monster parlance. You know, everyone's sort of moved away from scary mummies and into the more action-packed Brendan Fraser-esque mummy film. So the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to not use Egyptian mummies. And so what I did was I came up with this whole backstory about this kind of Aleister Crowley style leader of a sex magic cult up in the Poconos of Pennsylvania, where there used to be like these love shack hotels. They used to be this like really gaudy, kind of sleazy, places to go with had like heart shaped jacuzzis and all that kind of shit. So in the those things were built over the remains of these old compounds and skiing chateaus where this madman raised a cult that worshipped the dead and worshipped mummies, and they believed in bringing about the end of the world by mixing burial rituals and rituals of the dead from Peruvian and Aztec and all the different types of mummies that aren't Egyptian mummies, the underserved mummies. There's even some of the bog mummies in there, and the just all kinds of different stuff. So basically, in this long backstory, you would find out that in the opening that some in the cult realized that he had gone crazy, so they stopped him and they mummified him alive, but they didn't bury him. They didn't mummify him with all of his organs being preserved so that he could get them in the afterlife. And herein lies where something that no one's ever done yet when it comes to a mummy, and that was kind of my hook that I thought, oh, this is a really fucking good idea. So he's mummified alive without his organs. They let them to rot. All of his cult members are killed by those who escape. They're buried in the river, and time goes on. The sleazy Love Shack hotels are built. The Love Shack hotels close down, and then we come to modern day where our anthropologists are surveying the land. They're looking into the urban legend of this cult, which was once up there, and they finally break in and find remnants of these altars where this stuff happened under these dilapidated mansions. But there's a storm coming, and the river has kind of washed out, so they can't get back. And while they're up there, they stumble upon a really shitty Z-grade filmmaker who's all ego, who's making this movie with these girls, these actresses, and these poor camera guys who are just kind of dragged along for this. And you obviously run into the these really smart, collegiate anthropology students, and this meathead director, and these kind of girls who are lured against against their better judgment upriver into this whole thing. And when the filmmaker discovers the altars that they found and the remnants of this cult, he wants to use it as production value for his movie. And so in that, it's a little Dawn of the Mummy, a little of that where the photographers find the tomb and they disturb the tomb and it wakes up the zombies. Everyone in the movie is named after someone who was involved in one of the famous mummy movies, be it Universal or Hammer. So I gave everybody a first name or a last name, so it all exists in that universe. And of course, the filmmaker blows the Aztec death whistle that they find, and it raises the dead from the river, and they begin trying to bring back their cult leader. So with every kill, they remove an organ from the person they kill to put it into him to bring him back from the dead. And he is, he is the, the Egyptian or the Aztec god of death, basically. So you have a mixture of cool death masks and mummies. They're regular mummies, but they're all zombified and stuff like that, and waterlogged, and yeah. So I tried to do something that was a mix of a lot of different things. Made mummies cool and scary again, but also worked out my aggression towards a filmmaker who kind of was in his own little world. But I thought the idea of each kill having purpose and using each one to to bring back this this god of death, I thought was a cool way to go about doing it. And then and wrote some funny dialogue in it as well, and good banter between the two of them, or between the groups of people when the actresses have to work together with the anthropologist. I wrote some really funny sight gags and cutaways and stuff like that to try to give it a little bit more visual oomph, so it's not just a shitty zombie movie, because that's basically what they are. I mean, mummy movies are essentially zombie movies. But did a bunch of research to kind of learn a little bit more about Peruvian and Aztec and all these different types of mummification processes, and all that kind of stuff, to kind of put all that in there as well. So it's a silly, it's a grindhouse mummy movie, but it also has a little bit more to it before we get to like the gore parts of it and all that. And I don't know, I was pretty proud of it. I was pretty proud of just the hook of each time an organ is taken out, it's put into this guy and it's bringing him back from the dead. I thought nobody's done that yet, and I thought it'd be kind of cool. It was a quick script to turn over. The producer I was working with at the time loved the idea because he saw what I went through on the set of Swamp Zombies 2, and he also loves mummies. And then I had Steve Sistelli do that beautiful piece of artwork, which I think is a lot of people's favorite piece that he's ever done for me. River Mummy. Just like I said in the other one, this is just going down the pile, just kind of giving an overview of these scripts. I think this one was like 110 pages, and I wrote it over. I took longer for this one because I wanted to actually do some research and try to do something that hadn't really been done with mummy movies a lot. So I watched a whole bunch of shit and went back, and that's when I was taking notes and adding all the names and all that kind of stuff, and giving our one-dimensional characters a bit more dimension once we get going, so they kind of seem vapid as they start. But then as the shit hits the fan, like a lot of the roles reverse. I got a line in there that I put that under duress to some people was when our lead anthropologist woman, who I'd originally written for Crystal, obviously, has to work with these kind of like big tittied B-movie actresses, and they're coming up with a plan. And one of the people with them's like, so that's it, huh? We're going with plan A. And then Crystal's line would have been, well, yeah, because it looks like your friends used up all the plan B. I thought that was funny. Some people apparently took offense to that, but it's still in the script. But the script's just sitting on my desktop. It's probably never going to get made, but it was just a fun writing exercise to try to find a different shade of gray in a character in the Mummy. To do something that's not a big action movie, to take stuff like Burial Ground, Night of Terror, which is a zombie movie, and Dawn of the Mummy and stuff like that, and mix it together with Bram Stoker's mummy stories and pulp stuff, and just kind of try to make something that was a little bit weirder and darker, and it has this big long exposition drop at the beginning, that would have been kind of setting the stage. And I wrote it sort of in the vein of Lord of Illusion, the the Clive Barker story, where you have the cult in the beginning and how they break up and all that. So I kind of used that as a kicking off point for this. But I wanted to do a really cool, weird mummy story, and I thought that the idea of just the organs, I don't know, that was the hook. That's all I really started with, and then I just kind of made it up as I went along, and then tried to add as much fact and folklore and all that kind of stuff to it to make it feel a little bit broader than it really was. But that's it. Yeah, if you have any questions, is it one that you're interested in seeing? Let me know. And that's the story of River Mummies.